Welcome back to Sports Radio 92 on the game. Jeff Benedict here with you until 6:30. Coming up at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, we'll get into the Falcons. Specifically, of all the Falcons, who has to have an all-pro season this year? You can only have one, so which Atlanta Falcon has to have an all-pro season? We'll get to that coming up at 5 o'clock. Before we go out to the waitfor.com hotline, a quick shout-out to Bobby Whitaker, Bleacher Creature, Crimson Wade, and then Sam Franco, all for following me on Twitter as well. You give me a follow at jben1980. I'll give you a shout until we get out here at 6:30. All of that said, man, let's go out to the waitfor.com hotline. Bring in my guy, Terrell Thomas. He follows the Hawks and writes for hip-hop since 1987. Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Eldorado2452. Terrell, what's going on, brother? Terrell, you there?
Yeah, hey, how's everything, man? How you doing today?
Good. What you? I want to appreciate you taking the time out while you're out there in Vegas covering the Hawks Summer League to talk a little bit with me. I truly appreciate that, man. Hope life is going well for you. So a little bit of background, you guys, on Terrell. He's covered the Hawks now, I think, for 3 years for hip-hop since 1987. Goes on a lot of road trips. He's at every home game. He was out in Utah watching this thing transpire. He's out there in Vegas right now covering the team. So I figured no better person to have come on to talk about Trae Young and the Hawks than Terrell himself. So Terrell, let's start this thing out. I haven't gotten your opinion, but let's backtrack a little bit. Your thoughts on Lloyd Pierce being hired as the Hawks head coach?
I love the move. I'm a native of Philadelphia, as you know, so I've kind of been familiar with Lloyd Pierce for the past few seasons. And I actually think his grit and his grind will be great for the young players that we have here in Atlanta. And I think that he'll fit into the culture that Travis is looking to build with the Hawks. So I love the pick. And so far, I'm impressed with, even though, the team hasn't picked up any wins yet in Summer League, I'm very impressed with Coach Pierce, his demeanor, his direction where he's leading the young team.
And then let's go back to the draft. I was not happy with the original trade for Trae Young. To me, that was a guy that you could have, that maybe 7 to 10, 10 to 14, but to me 3 to 5, 3 to 7 was too high. Nonetheless, we get him. He's here. You can't do anything about it. So I'm choosing to embrace this. What was your thought the night you saw? What was your thought the night you saw them make the trade? They picked Luka Doncic, and then all of a sudden they trade him for Trae Young. What was your thought when that transpired?
Ironically, man, I was pretty thrilled. I had Trae Young and Marvin Bagley on my radar. I wasn't really big on Luka. I think he's a good player, but I want to see. I haven't really seen too many Euro players outside of Dirk come into the league and make an impact, especially in a market like Atlanta. I wanted to see Bagley or Young come in. So I was pretty pleased with Trae Young when they actually decided to go ahead and pick him up.
Now, I do agree with you there. I wanted Marvin Bagley. Obviously, he went to Sacramento, so neither of us could do anything about that. But I do agree with you. I wasn't excited about the Luka Doncic pick either. But nonetheless, we don't have him. We have Trae Young. So let's get into this. You were out in Utah. You covered the first 3 games. You're out in Vegas. You'll be there for tonight's game. What is your overall thought? Because people here, of course, in Atlanta, and you know the Atlanta market. You've been here for a few years. People were freaking out because Trae Young didn't exactly set the world on fire. But watching him play, man, what were some of the things that you liked about his game?
I'm actually pretty impressed with Trae Young. I must say I'm pretty impressed with Trae Young. I'm pretty impressed with his demeanor and his poise out on the court. Now, I know that he hasn't shot the ball fairly well yet, but I've seen other things from him. I'm liking his distributing. I'm liking the decision-making that he's making out there. I've also, I've seen a few players. You hear the trash talk from his opponents. You've heard the trash talk and the chatter from some of the fans that were out in Utah, and he was able to stay poised. So I've been impressed with Trae, and I'm honestly thinking that today may be the day where we get a breakout performance from him.
And that was the one thing that you just talked about that I've encouraged Hawks fans to stay positive about is you look at it, the way he ended his year at Oklahoma. He was averaging almost 8 turnovers a game out there. He's cut that down tremendously in just a few games. So I choose to focus on the positive with that one. I do like the way that he seems to be picking up the game from a distribution standpoint. And so for me, that's what we want on this team, isn't it? We want a guy who can distribute the ball to some of these other younger guys around him.
I've also been pretty impressed with some of the other young cats that we have out there. I think folks should be on the lookout for Omari Spellman. I think he's going to be a really great NBA player. I think the Hawks have a gem in him. I know a lot of attention and focus is on Trae Young, but Spellman is someone that we should definitely keep our eyes on, man. I've been very impressed with that cat so far.
And let's talk about one of the younger guys. Well, two of the younger guys that were a part of this team last year. Our draft picks from last year, John Collins. He seems like even though it's only been 4 months since the NBA season ended, or 3 months since the NBA season ended, you can tell that dude has been in the gym working. How impressed have you been with him so far in the first couple of games that he played in summer league?
Man, I can't say enough about John. I was pretty. He was also someone last year who he wasn't on my radar when the Hawks drafted him initially, and I was wondering what type of player would he be, how would he fit into what Coach Bud at the time was trying to do. He came in, and as we saw towards the end of the season, he had established himself into the starting lineup. And it already appears he's taken on the role of leadership. He actually, out in Utah, John and Tyler Dorsey, they received the Standout Player Awards for the Atlanta Hawks. Both of them two cats, John and Tyler, they've been leading the team. They've been showing the team, this is what you do. Now, this was John's first year in Utah. He didn't play in Utah. Of course, the Hawks were in last year, and he didn't play when the Hawks went to Utah against the Jazz last year. So this was his first time in his career actually playing in Salt Lake City. And it's just like he put the team on his back. You can see he's in shape. He looks like that. He's settling into his game, and I like that a lot. I've been very impressed with John. Now, he didn't play in the third and final game that was against Utah just for rest because he had such a positive impact in the first two games against Memphis and against San Antonio. So I'll be looking forward to see what he does tonight against the Knicks as well. But John has been very impressive, and I'm looking forward to seeing him back in the starting lineup this year and seeing how he can improve and possibly go up to that Most Improved Player award in the NBA.
And let's go over to the other pick from last year, Tyler Dorsey, a guy that it took him a while to get on the court this year under Coach Bud. He seems to be having a really good summer league. Talk about what you've seen, how impressed you've been from his development as well.
It's kind of ironic because I think so far in the first few games, Tyler has been everything that critics and Hawks fans have been looking to see out of Trae Young. Tyler's been shooting the ball exceptionally well, playing stellar defense, and he's also a cat. You know, of course, he went to Oregon for school, Oregon Duck. He's coming to the league very poised. I think he's very mature for his age. I know he also has played internationally, playing over in Greece, so he's played professional ball for some time. And it seems like now he's at a different comfort level in his NBA career, and that moving into his sophomore season, he's ready to have a breakout year. I've been very impressed with the way he's been shooting the ball and his defense out there on the court.
All right, before we let you get out of here, because we're almost out of time, man, what are you looking to see from this team in Vegas? What are you hoping that what steps are you hoping they take from a young player standpoint out in Vegas?
I do want to see the ball going to the basket for Trae Young. I want to see that. I also realize for a lot of these cats, it's their first time playing together. Some of these cats are unlearning the system who were here last year or who played in Erie last year. They're unlearning Coach Bud's system, and now they're getting used to Coach Pierce's system. So I just really want to see how this team gels. I want to see how competitive they are. I want to see how well they're picking up on Coach Pierce's defensive scheme, the offensive scheme, and something that we'll have to look forward to as we move into the beginning of the season in October.
Terrell, man, great stuff. We'll have to have you back on, man. We're out of time. I appreciate you, brother. Be safe out there, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, man. Take care out there.